did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. I am your host, as always, Matthew Shipe, joined always by my co-host and the best producer for any kind of podcast, Paul. Paul, how are you doing?
Doing well. I'm the co-host. I'm the greatest co-host in the world.
Leave me alone. I'm still sick. To my left in studio is Chris. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
And joining us, as always, via Skype because he lives all the way down in sunny Florida. Anthony, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself? How you doing tonight?
Good, good. And also join us today, we have a very special guest. He is the host of, oh my God, I just forgot the name.
Funny to Informing.
Funny. I'm so sorry about that. Join us, the co-host of that podcast, John Hannan. John, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Why don't you take it real quick and let people know about your podcast?
Oh, yeah, it's called Funny to Informing, if Matt didn't stumble on that enough. And then
I apologize.
it's with I'm going to be your host, John, but and now would be a good time to represent my co-host, which I'm pretty sure Anthony might know. Me and this guy have been friends since like 2007. Richard Walker, you know him, Anthony, right?
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, but the concept is going to be John and Dick. We're your hosts. So, yeah, his name's going to be Dick. And Funny to Informing. We have Twitter. We have a GoFundMe page. And the shows are coming out next week.
Oh, nice.
All right, awesome.
All right, cool. So check that out. I believe the Twitter is John Dick Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you check that out. So let's get right into it. First of all, the Wizards have been eliminated.
Hold on, time out. Before we get into that, I know this is our 80th episode, and I know you were saying the 100th episode, quick preview, might be a drinking episode.
It will be a drinking episode. 100. We were trying to figure out what we could do. We were thinking about good time to plug in our sponsors, Buffalo Wings and Beer of Germantown, Cloverly, Maryland. Great spot for wings. Try the amazing Rooster, all those amazing wings. Great beer selection. We're thinking about that, but then we're thinking, what about our man Anthony?
Right.
Unless we can fly him in, but I don't have the kind of money to fly him in.
Hey,
on a private
maybe
airplane.
that's when we got to do what John's doing over there and get a GoFundMe going.
There we go.
But what I was
Yeah.
saying is it's going to be a drinking show. Already, we should say we take a shot every time you make a mistake. I mean, we got 2 shots right there already, right off the bat.
No, that'll
Oh,
be on
well,
the
it's going to be
drinking
during
episode.
football season? Forget it. We're done. This guy will be saying easy kill Elliott every 2 seconds.
What's going to happen during the drinking episode is Paul is going to write a list of stuff down, and if we say those words, we have to drink. We're not going to know the words, and I told Paul not to screw us, just to do it just when we say it.
Who's the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Big Ben
Yeah, all right.
What's his last name? Come on, what's his last name? Say it.
Rothenberg.
Oh my.
I could say
That's
what
3
everyone else
shots
knows
already.
him as, but I'm not going to say
That's
that.
3 shots already.
No,
All right.
we're gonna-
All right, let's get
Let's,
back on
let's
track.
get back into the.
So today on the show, first off, the Wizards were eliminated on Monday.
Yep.
I think we all can agree if we watched the game, John Wall looked pretty gassed out in that game. I think that was a big factor was the Game 7 and the fact that he never really got a chance to rest because, let's face it, Brandon Jennings sucked since he came to the Wizards. So disappointment, but also I feel deep down after starting 2-12, this was probably a compliment for them. They weren't even expected to make the playoffs anymore. Thank you,
Right.
Paul, for that. That's why he's the best co-host and producer. So good season for the Wizards. John Wall was just named third NBA All-Team, which kind of sucked because as a point guard, you're going up against
I thought he was
hard.
a second.
No, he was a third.
Second team?
Yep, third team. He's third
Oh,
team.
Okay.
It's hard because you're going up against
Wow.
Westbrook, Harden.
There's a lot of.
It's so hard to get. I think he deserved. I think the kind of season he had, maybe he should have been too. But so right now we have Boston and Cleveland. Game 1, Cleveland won. I predicted it was going to be a 20-point game just because Boston just got off of a 7-game series, and they're like, all right, cool, you just got off a tiring 7-game series, but you're going to have to play 2 days later. Kind of sucked. I think maybe they should have had one more day, but it's schedule-wise.
Luckily, there wasn't any traveling involved for them.
No. And then over on the West, Leonard goes down. They blow a 25-point lead. They lose. If it wasn't a time limit, they probably would have lost by 100 on the other night. So the Warriors are up 2-0 on that. Just a real quick question for all of you guys. Are we going to get a repeat final?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%, I think.
I don't want to say yes, but I mean, it looks like it's going to be. I mean, both of them are. I mean, LeBron's 9-0, or the Cavs are 9-0, and Curry's 10-0 to this point in the playoffs. I mean, it doesn't look promising on either side. I mean, I can't see the Spurs mounting a comeback after blowing that 24. I know, like, Leonard got taken out, and that takes a lot, but you lose a 24-point lead. They win that game, that's a whole new series. You know, that first game, that takes the win right out of Golden State's sails. But
Right.
I don't know.
I think 70% of the NBA's fan base, right in the beginning of the season, knew it was going to be the Warriors and Cavs. Like, there wasn't even that much of a surprise, and that's kind of where the NBA is starting to go downhill a little bit, is these players are, like, wherever they go, the championship is going to go, potentially.
Yeah. To an extent, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Kevin Durant signed for the Warriors, I mean, that just sealed the deal. Even, it was just icing on the cake, Without that, they still would be probably 10-0. So, yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a repeat. But a lot of people are saying, just like John was saying, is that it's not good for the sport. But don't you want to see the two best teams in the league play for the finals?
But
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is going to be the third year in a row. Is this kind of boring? Are you tired of seeing it over and over? I mean, this is why I've always said I've liked baseball better than any other sport. It's someone new every year in baseball. Hockey's the same thing, but this year you may or not get the Penguins again. We got the Predators up there this year. So I feel like basketball is really, truly the only sport where you see the same teams year in and year out, because wherever LeBron goes, that's where the championship goes now. Golden State is now on a run. So it's like, I mean, I want something new.
Well,
Yeah, man, it sucks because, like, even if Kawhi doesn't get hurt, I don't think it makes a difference.
I think they win
know what
game one. The game one probably.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a game and more of a series, but I don't think it would still be enough to beat Golden State.
Do
Yeah,
you all
was
think
that-
Kawhi, do you all think Kawhi Leonard is an MVP of this league?
Yeah.
Of the league? I think he's a great player. I don't think he's the MVP of the league. I mean, I don't think he's. I think
I wouldn't say he
nothing's
is
gonna
the
beat
MVP,
Russell Westbrook,
but-
obviously.
Right.
But
or Harden. I still put Harden over him too.
do you really?
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Over Kawhi, yeah.
But I would say he's probably top 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Did John
that's-
Wall?
No,
Before we
but
move on
do
from
you-
that, did John Wall solidify himself as a top 3-point guard to you? With his play in the postseason.
Yes. Even with Game 7,
3?
I think Game 7 you saw a lot of gas in him because the amount of minutes he played, which we have seen from everyone in the play. I mean, he showed up better than James Harden, I think. At least he scored more points.
And he's
Speaking
just
of
not-
that,
he's not used
sorry, John.
to it yet. No, you're good. I just think he's not used to it
He's
yet.
still young, I mean-
The Spurs, all these teams have been there before a bunch of times. Wall's
Right.
trying to lead a team
I think
that's
this
new
is
to the playoffs,
third-
and he's
third year in
new.
the playoffs, third time.
Yeah,
Anthony, what
I
were you
think
gonna say?
they're a team up and coming. But the thing that bothered me about the James Harden thing, the guy had an awful game, in Game 7. What
It was Game
happened
6.
to? And this go. I'm sorry, Game 6. You're right. My apologies. And this goes back to like what the Giants last year. The guys were out on the boat before the game. Harden didn't really show like about it. The guys out at the club that night. You just lost a Game 6 at home. You just got destroyed by 40 points, and you're out at drinking like it's no big deal.
He seemed
While your
fine to
fans
me.
are at home cursing like, oh, come on. But this is what I'm saying. What happened to when these guys lost games? It's like, all right, let's get back to the drawing board. I know we can't play again this year, but you're out at the bar.
It's
Does
all
that
about-
bother
it's
you
all
guys
about-
as much as it bothers me as a fan, or is it
bothers
just me?
But it's all about going out and getting your image.
Life goes on.
Yep. They don't care. They really don't care. You know what they care about? Getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I think there's a median in
Yeah,
there somewhere.
that's exactly what I was
like
gonna say.
I don't want to tell him to sulk in the corner and he should be crying, but show something. Yeah, because it kind of
Yeah,
speaks to your
exactly.
character a little bit.
It does. It definitely does. And I think exactly you hit the nail on the head that there's got to be a median, because you can't. There's such a thing as overexerting and overworking yourself and overthinking things. So, obviously, like you just said, you can't do anything about it now, but it doesn't hurt to maybe review that Game 6 game film and just since it's fresh, just go over it, see what went wrong, and then now you know what to work on in the off season. Then take a few days off and relax and come down from wherever it is that you were and get back to normal and then work on that.
You know what the
So-
Wizards should do for next year? Gortat, he's come out and saying he doesn't know if this is the best fit for him. I say the Wizards
Hey,
go out. I say the Wizards go out and try to get DeMarcus Cousins. Reason number one.
What?
What?
Why was Oubre on the bench all game after the games he had in that series? Because I know Mahimi
know.
came back off of injury,
I think
but he had
because
0 minutes, and the guy was hitting big shots for you
I
guys.
really don't know. Maybe it has a lot to do with it because when he came back for Game 5, when he went back to Boston, the crowd really affected his play. He wasn't really the last time they played in Boston before everything happened, he didn't really have a really good game. And maybe they just thought the crowd was going to affect them again. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. I can't answer
That's a
that.
good question.
That's a good answer. That's a question for Scott Brooks. But I was saying, I think they should try to, if Gortat doesn't feel that he belongs here, I think you maybe try to trade Gortat. And I think maybe you try to get DeMarcus Cousins. One, he's already, unbelievable. Funny. One, he was already teammates with John Wall. And two, I think Cousins will realize this is Wall's team. And maybe he won't act like the little baby self he was when he was in Sacramento, knowing that, okay, I already played with John Wall before. I know this is his team. And I think his attitude will be a lot different. And I think he's a better player than Gortat, especially for John Wall. Well, I mean, what would you
without
think
a question, he's definitely a better player than Gortat. It's not even a debate.
What do you think?
I don't think you need him on your team. I think he would change your whole entire dynamic, not even the way of play, but more so in the way that he acts. I think that you don't need someone I think Cousins is great. I think he's a head case, though, man. I think he loses his cool very easily, and I think that you guys have a very good young core, and Wall seems like a great leader. I don't think you need another guy there that's going to try and take over that role. Like John, Chris, and you have said, Wall's going to be something special. He's already showing it. They're young. They weren't ready for the game. I don't think Cousins adds to that. I think, if anything, it would change how they would play going into next year if they were to grab someone like DeMarcus Cousins.
Question for you for next year. Porter is due for a contract. The way he's played pretty good this year, he's going to want, after you saw all the money thrown around last year, probably a max contract. I'm on the boat where you don't give him the max contract and you go out and you get role bench players. We saw how bad our bench was. That's me. My thing is you let Porter walk. You get Oubre now in the starting role, and you go out and use the money for him for – did we just lose Anthony?
I think we lost him.
I think so.
All right, well, we'll try calling him back. So, real quick, I guess you two, do you give Porter a max contract if you're the Wizards, or do you go use that money for role players?
I don't think a max contract.
Oof.
I don't think he's worth a max contract. I think that's overkill. But
Yeah.
I still think you try to keep him. There's nothing wrong with throwing some feelers out there and seeing what whether he'll bite.
There he is.
There he's back. All right, so let's move on now.
I upset somebody in DC sports with that comment, I guess.
Let's move on now to the NHL just real quick. Guys. I haven't gotten to watch much of these games, but let's go ahead and just make predictions right now. We're seeing, there's 2-1 Ottawa, 2-1 Predators. Do those two teams, go on and make the Stanley Cup? I say yes. I think we're going to have a Predators, Senators final. Anthony, what do you think?
I got the Predators, and I still think the Penguins find a way to pull it out.
All right.
I don't think that they're going to go down that easy.
Chris?
I can't root for the Penguins. Definitely Senators all the way. I don't know. The Predators somehow all of a sudden are this amazing team that has only lost one game so far, right?
Have they swept both? Maybe.
I thought they did. If not,
And they're an
lost
8 seed, right?
Yeah, they've been there an 8 seed. So I guess you got to go for the underdogs there. I think the Predators
swept Chicago, and they lost only 2 to St. Louis. So they've only lost 3.
All right.
So that's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
So I think it's going to be Senators and Predators.
All right. John?
Oh, yeah.
Any
It's
predictions?
Yeah, man. I was looking at the game last night, and the Predators, the Senators. They it was literally 2-0 or 1-0, and then I blinked, went to get something to drink, went to the bathroom, came back, and it was 4-0. And then I was looking at the Senators the rest of the game, following up on that. Man, they were moving so fast, and it reminded me of the way the Predators play in the Western Conference. Man, I think it's going to be those two in the Stanley Cup, and that's going to be such a fast series. They're going to be flying up and down the ice all over the place.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, they scored 3 goals
Physical.
within a 2-minute period. All of a sudden, it's boom, boom, boom.
Marc-Andre Fleury came out 7 minutes left in the first period.
Right.
Yeah, the Caps can do that. Anyway, so that's going to do it for our playoff talk this week. Obviously, next week we could have.
It's too soon.
What?
You can't be talking about the Caps right now. It's too soon.
No.
They're playing golf right now, no?
By next Thursday, we could have our finals picked for both playoffs, I believe, if they're sweeps. So now we're going to move on to our favorite segment during the summer. What is baseball?
What is baseball?
What is baseball? It's our daily baseball segment. Thanks to Chris for the name, for his award-winning fantasy baseball team name. So first, I just saw on the news, sports thing, Jose Bautista was drilled with the ball for the bat flip he did yesterday. Do you
Oh,
think
he was drilled today?
he got drilled
Oh,
today?
man.
Do you think? Obviously, we know. Do you think he's getting a little too ridiculous with these bat flips? Do you think he's taking it over the limit with Batista? Anthony, you're my main best baseball guy here. Do you think he's doing this too much now, just to do it?
Listen, man. When it comes to sports and anything like that, I mean, you know me, man. I love a guy that does some trash talking and is a little over the top with what they do. And
But is he doing too much?
I don't necessarily think it's too much. I think what he's doing is getting into their head, and that's what you want to do when you're playing a competitive sport. You want to get into the opposing team's head, and obviously it bothered them to that avail that they went the next game and hit him with a pitch. I mean, think about it. You go back to last year when they're playing the Rangers, and he slides in the second base. Yes, it was a nasty slide. I mean, he gets dropped. He gets punched right in the jaw because of it, because he gets into their head, and he had his mental game is very good as well as his physical game.
Like that, I mean, that was
yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying, that was it. Like when he says, "I was shocked that he did that." You don't expect you don't expect to get punched. In baseball, it's not something you see very often. It's not hockey where they allow that.
I don't know.
So
it's
something.
Now.
Well, not at this level. Not at this level. I mean,
not at this level.
In high school, you got teenagers and hormones raging. I could definitely see that, but not at this level.
I think the best punch last year was Machado. That was the best one. Because he knocked him down. And Machado had a reason.
I don't know. That one on Batista, man, was nasty, bro. He
Machado
clocked him on the jaw.
Yeah, that's my vote.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like
he caught him flush on the jaw.
He
the
did.
pitcher that Machado went after, he was the one that tragically passed away during the offseason, wasn't it?
Not too sure.
Volquez,
The Marlins?
Vasquez?
Yeah.
he was
In a
the one.
boating accident or something.
No, that was Fernandez.
That was
Jose Fernandez.
This was a car accident, I think, in the Dominican or something. Yeah. But that game, that was where he threw behind Machado like 3 times, and Machado finally said, "Screw to this." And they threw him again. So, all right.
Yeah,
so
man,
let's talk.
it's a rough
ahead,
spot
I'm sorry.
to be in, though. No,
So-
that's what I was gonna say. It's tough when you see the bat. The bat they go into the benches. I mean, I don't think he purposely threw it in there, but I could see why. But again, like I said, it's part of the game, man. You got to use that mental side of the game to try and psych the other team out. So.
All right, so on the show today, which is something we normally don't have, we usually have the Nats and the Mets fan. We have a Philly fan here on the show today, which is John. John, Phillies,
Yes.
14-24, 2-8 their last 10 games. Is this going to be? Are you all going to start selling some of these guys that you have at the trade deadline? Are you going to try to rebuild? What's going on? Because during the offseason, we heard a lot of trade speculation with some of your young pitchers. Are you guys going to keep them or just?
I think we should hang on. I think we should definitely hang on to the pitchers, but we do have we have too many prospects, and like if I don't hear something from the management, like during the before the deadline, man, like it's going to be a long season. I mean, like because it's still salvageable, 37, 38 games into the season or whatever, which the Nats are 10 up.
Right.
In above 500, so good for them. But yeah, man, like they have 3 first basemen, and they're trying to like split the time. Oh, give me one.
He lives near an airport, so.
Calling a timeout.
All right, here we go. I think the airport's got to be done now. There you
He's
go.
looking up. There's the plane.
Okay, yeah.
There goes number 2.
Sorry about that.
That's
Okay,
like
yeah. So
is that like right next door to your house? That sounds.
It's got to be close.
dude, it takes me like 6 minutes to get to the airport. 7 minutes. It's straight down one road, Boggy Creek, straight into it. Yep.
Wow.
I wouldn't even.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep.
Orlando International. It doesn't stop. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, man. But yeah, the Phillies have like Tommy Joseph, Brock Stassi, and who's the third one? Andres Blanco. I was trying to bring out my Spanish. Andres Blanco, and he. Yeah, man, like they got to do something with one of those. I mean, 2 of those players, I think Stassi and Joseph both are accountable first basemen that can take on the job full time. So you got to do something with 2 of the 3, or maybe hang on to Blanco and get rid of just one of them. But man, it's a tough thing to climb. But as I will say, the one thing about baseball in general is it's pretty sweet that like. If nobody's ever gone to a game, there's 2 minutes in between each half of the inning, and each half of the inning, if you've never been, they're shooting T-shirts into the crowd. People are answering trivia questions to win awards and stuff like that. So no matter how bad the Phillies do, I'll always be a fan because baseball and the whole ambience of it is just amazing to me, unlike any other sport.
I have to agree. I'm not a huge baseball TV watcher.
Yeah.
I actually find it kind of less entertaining than maybe other sports.
Boring.
That's another way to put it.
Yeah, I can watch Nats game every time it's on.
But I used to be an Orioles season ticket holder because going
Right.
there and the experience of being in the stadium, rooting people on. We used to get in fights with like some of the other team
Yeah.
outfielders, and it was just such a good time. I mean, definitely,
Yeah.
100% agree with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you guys like how you guys wanted to make it about the Phillies and I just started talking about baseball in general? I don't want to talk about the Phillies. I'll
right,
wait until
so
they
now-
do better.
So now we'll move to the counterpart in the NL East. Anthony struggling again. I'm assuming you're just waiting to get healthy. That's all this is now. It's just a waiting game.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, the fact of the matter is that it goes beyond the disabled list at this point. It's not just what's on the disabled list. These guys are not healthy that are even playing right now. The guys they have in the lineup, besides a select few of them, are doing well. The starting rotation couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. The bullpen is absolutely atrocious. I mean, it's just not what they envisioned. When you go, and that's the one thing I hate. When you give teams high expectations in the offseason and you get like all these experts, oh, the Mets are going to do this or this team's going to do that. It always 90% of the time ends up going the complete opposite way. And that's what happened with the Mets. They said, I mean, I reiterate myself every week because it's just a shame to see how this team has the talent that they have and they're just losing games. And it's not like they're losing games because they're losing by a run. 90% of the time, the games are being lost at the end of the game in the bullpen. I mean, yesterday, for example, Harvey finally has a semi-decent outing. The Mets lose it, Mets lose it again on a walk-off hit. All the last 6 losses they have. I mean, on a road trip, they just lost 6 games in a row. I mean, that's absolutely awful. You never want to go any kind of stretch with 6-game loss, but to go on a road trip and lose 6 games like that against the Diamondbacks, most recently. It's just not. It's not the way you want to do it, and I just fear that this team's health really relies on that of Cespedes and Syndergaard. Getting back everyone else, if it's not those 2 guys, I think will not do the job that the Mets need. If the Mets don't have those guys in the lineup, as in Cespedes, and then in rotation in Syndergaard, the dynamic of that team is not the same. It's seen now evidently. You can look back to last year when Cespedes went down. And then when he came back, we were able to make that last, second run to get to the wild card. It's crazy how you could think one person makes such a difference, but those guys, impact-wise, it's detrimental to the team, and you're seeing it now. As much as these guys are trying, DeGrom's trying to do what he can in the rotation. Wheeler's been pitching pretty solid, and then on the offensive side, Jay Bruce, of course, like I've been saying all year. Conforto, a young kid. Duda again. Just can't get going. Neil Walker's starting to get a little hot, but it's just not enough. It's not going to be enough until they get those guys back, because just having those guys back to me is the change. And like I said, if they can stay relevant, at the All-Star break, if they could stay within 10 games, that's an accomplishment in itself. But the way the Nationals are playing right now, like I told you last week, and I'm sure you're smiling right now as I say this, but I can't see your picture. It's scary. It's scary how good they're playing. Yeah, exactly. It's just honestly for every team in the MLB right now, never mind the NL East or the NL right now, the Nationals are playing scary good baseball, and they don't have a bullpen. So
Right.
if they get this closer that they're trading for, you're talking about a team that could possibly. You're talking about if these starting pitchers get 6 innings and you guys have a 7, 8, 9. You're talking about lights out, man. You're talking about a team that you don't want to play. You're not going to want to play in a stretch. You know what I mean? And you're still going to have those tough games against NL East teams just because that's the way it is every year, no matter what. Just like when the Mets play the Phillies could be the worst team, but the Phillies will find a way to push the Mets to the edge. Same thing with the Marlins, the Braves. Your rivals are always going to push you to that extra limit. But the Nationals are not a team to sleep lightly on, and it's getting more evident.
They're
But
going to
you
be
know
like
what?
this for
It's
the next
okay.
10 years.
Because we're DC Sports and we'll lose in the first round.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, just everything you said, just scrap that as soon as the playoffs start.
So
I will tell you right now, the Nationals are going to represent the NL in the World Series.
you really think
We should put money on that.
My vote's
I mean,
right there,
I
too.
picked them to no. I had them losing.
I
to
picked the
Chicago.
Mets to go with my heart because of what I thought with the 7 starting pitchers. I picked with my
Right.
heart.
Do you
But
wanna
watching
take
these guys play, I
you
know
wanna
it's
take that
still
back?
early. No, I know it's still early. We're 30 games in. Listen, I still want to see the Mets go to the World Series. If they get healthy, I think there's a shot. But the way the Nationals are playing right now, it just looks scary good, man.
Silly.
It really does.
Right, that
I haven't
offense
seen a
is-
team
Speaking of
this
teams
early
playing good,
look this good.
what about the Astros, man? They're 29-12. They're playing
Yeah.
silly baseball.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing we have for the Nationals is they are shopping for a closer. That's really the only thing they're missing. Harper got the contract next year, 1 year, $22 million. If he makes the MVP, another $1 million. And how did he celebrate? He hit a, no offense, John, he hit a walk-off against the Phillies. He
He
celebrated. As soon as I saw
Yeah.
that walk-off, this to me, this $22 million contract means I think they're going to pay the guy to stay in D.C. I feel
You
like
think he's worth $40 million a
Yeah.
year?
Well, that was my
Close.
question.
what if he
because-
has back-to-back MVP seasons?
I don't care about that. Do you think he's worth? Are the Nationals a team that are going to spend an exponential amount of money to keep this core of players together, or is it like once they pay Harper, they're going to lose 2 or 3 guys in order to keep him? Because if that's what's going to happen, then that's not a move you can make.
If they can,
Because let me ask you this: we'll do it like this. Would you rather keep Harper, or would you rather keep Zimmerman, Murphy, and Trey Turner? Because that's how it's going to end up happening, it seems, and that's what happens 90% of the
Zimmerman's
time
coming
when you
towards
keep
the
a
end of his
superstar.
career, I believe, in 2 to 3 years.
But I'm just saying, next year, this could be your ideal. You know what I'm saying? Like if that were the case, it's the
Pay
same
Harper.
thing like with the Redskins when I asked this. But would you rather keep Deshaun Jackson or Garcon? You know, when you pay one guy a certain amount, I know there's no cap limit. It's based on a thing, but the Nationals don't seem like a team that are going to go out there and spend, $500 million on a team, on contracts,
I say pay the guy. Open your checkbook up.
and then you let other guys walk. In that case, you'd rather keep Harper than I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yes,
You'd rather
I
keep
feel
him
like
than
you
the rest
have
of the
to.
guys.
I feel like you
Dude,
have
he's-
to.
Yeah, he's playing like a grown man, and
I
I think
think-
younger
yeah,
than
sorry.
me. Right?
Yeah,
He's
what is
younger
Harper?
than
Is he
me?
23?
I think he's 25.
I'm
No,
24.
he's not 25.
No, he's not
24?
25.
Oh, I think he's younger than that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He
I think he's
is.
like 23.
He was
Yeah,
born in
dude, so-
92, so just
24.
So he's our
25.
age.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 he's
so
our
I
age.
have to tell Anthony, dude, we are in for like a long decade. If they hang on to Harper and with Strasburg and all this, yeah, we're
Of
it's-
grief. I've heard.
Buckle
and
up.
Trey Turner, and that young kid. I mean, they got a lot of young guys, man.
And
That's what I'm saying.
You have to remember, Turner
is
just
unreal.
technically this is Turner's first year,
Right.
so he has about another 4 to 5 years before he technically can become a. Because you have to have, I believe, four or five, something like that, of actual MLB service before you become a free agent.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like Turner's going to go away in a couple of years. He's going to be here for a while.
Well, what I was trying to do is kind of
Murphy has 1 more year left on his contract. We'll see what happens with that. Rendon, but
He needs to
God,
come
man.
home.
Huh?
Murphy needs to go home.
No, he's fine where he's
I
at.
was trying to compare this to what you said with Ovechkin and the Caps when basically you just said let him go. Basically, you said let him go, start fresh, start new. with a
Okay,
whole
but
new
here's the
team.
difference.
That-
How many playoffs have Ovechkin
Hold
been
on.
to?
I'm saying the
Give me something to throw
difference.
at him.
The difference is age.
Yes.
The difference is
Harper's younger.
Harper still has many years left, where Ovechkin really doesn't have that many
No,
left.
yeah, that's why I said get rid of
So
Ovechkin because he's
I
older.
agree.
Yeah.
You keep him.
There we go.
You
So
pay
if
him
Harper's
the-
30 and hasn't won a World Series, you're going to be upset? You're gonna
if-
ship
if
him off
Harper
too?
Yes.
was 30
Oh.
right now, I would say you
Oh,
can't
I'm
pay
saying
him
if
He's
now.
20, no, I'm
30,
saying in 6 years, you give
if
him
he
this
doesn't
big
have a World
contract, you
Series,
give him
would you
this
be
spot,
upset?
whatever you give
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yes, it'll be
He's
like
looking.
the same thing.
I'm hearing in neighborhoods of 10 years, $400 million. So if in the 6th year of his contract, he still hasn't won you,
Trade him.
anything. And yeah, you're going to trade. Who's taking $40 million if the guy hasn't won your World Series?
The Mets.
Get out of here. The Mets won't even
Mets.
spend money on the players they got now. The Mets would try and bargain down on a bag of Funyuns if it was 99 cents.
You know what? I think the Yankees or the Dodgers would take him.
Yeah, I believe that,
man.
and I have a feeling you're gonna have to test your chances in the off season with that because I have a feeling they're gonna try and get a lot of money out to him.
All right, well-
You got lucky though that you signed him because Trout is gonna be a free, so I think that helps because if one of those guys can land him, that'll definitely get people off the radar
Good.
with possible suitors
Trout's
paying that
leaving.
amount of
We all-
money.
I think we all. Where's Machado going to go? But we'll discuss that next year, next 2 years from now. So, all right, before we head out for the night, I just want to talk real quick MMA boxing.
Taylor Stanton on the Facebook chat says that he said, "Yo, Game 4 of Western Conference Finals on right now."
Oh, yeah,
Just
we know.
saying.
Yeah,
We got the
get
Predators
right
and
to this.
Yeah.
So, real quick, some MMA, just real quick MMA and boxing news. Apparently, according to Dana White, Conor McGregor has signed the contract to fight Floyd Mayweather. The thing is, we all know what kind of contract it is. We all know what the money is. Apparently, they're waiting for Floyd. So, if this does actually happen and this becomes a boxing match, I'm picking Floyd Mayweather. I don't know who all you guys are picking.
Yeah.
I'm picking Floyd Mayweather because I'm sorry, Mayweather. I don't think McGregor can box him. That's just me.
Yeah. 100%.
Especially, and I know McGregor's like, oh, I'm quicker Yeah, you're quicker with MMA gloves. Have you put on those pound gloves? I bet you Mayweather, how quick he is. He's just. I bet.
And there's so many reports of people, seeing Conor McGregor just in a camp, and they said that his boxing skill is laughable. I mean, he's not anywhere near.
So you're taking McGregor. Who are you two? I mean, you're
No.
taking.
I was like, wait,
Mayweather.
no.
Who would you, Anthony and John? Just real quick, pick someone. Who do you got?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I would say McGregor just because Mayweather doesn't really have a habit of like actually aggressively going after. He does.
Oh, he's a
does win
counterpuncher.
the fights. Yeah,
He's a
he wins
counter.
the fights and he gets the touches. I don't think he packs a lot of power
No.
behind
And
him.
that's going to be McGregor's
So-
problem. I think McGregor's going to go in there hot-headed, and Mayweather's just going to counter everything he throws at him.
I really hope
Yeah.
McGregor throws a kick or something. Just
To be a jackass.
just to be a jackass.
Oh my God!
I'm-
What if he
I'm-
threw a
I'm-
kick?
I'm hoping one of them exposes a glass jaw.
Yeah, well.
I want to
Anthony?
see it.
I'm on the money team. I don't like either of them, but I don't see Mayweather losing just because
yeah.
you're going into someone else's world.
Right.
I think it's going to be a tougher match now because Mayweather's still probably ready to go, but Mayweather's not. If this was 5 years ago, I don't think this is even going to be talked about because Mayweather would have pretty much mopped him up. But
Yeah, age is a thing.
McGregor's younger, and that's where I think, like John said, if he could catch him with, I think he's going to throw some serious haymakers. He's going to throw some heavy punches, and
Right.
that's where Mayweather will beat him because if he doesn't land these punches, Mayweather's game
gonna
is
gas
counterpunching. So if
He's
he's going to get
counterpunch.
gassed, he's going to throw heavy shots, and he's just going to duck him and just keep throw body shots on him and
Right.
just weaken him out. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
Mayweather has no problem going 12 rounds. He's shown you plenty of times.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
where I
yeah.
think I don't think this is going to be like in the first round someone's getting knocked out. I think this is going to go a lengthy amount of time. When they finally agree on what the the parameters of the match will entail. So
All right.
Yeah.
So
So Guillermo had a couple of things on the chat as well. First, he said that Bryce is asking for Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers money if Nationals don't go past the
NLCS.
NLCS. Is that an L? Oh, I thought it was an
uh,
I. Not worth it. And then can you guys see it or not?
yeah, he's
Yeah,
asking
why-
why are we talking about Canelo versus Triple G? I believe we got into that a little bit last week. The problem is, see, I'll admit, boxing the only really people
I don't
I'm gonna
watch
watch
boxing.
are
Yeah,
gonna be-
boxing,
Yeah,
it's
Mayweather. I
kind
know
of fell
Mayweather,
off.
Pacquiao, them. I'll have to look into this fight. I'll probably maybe watch some film on it. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the film room. Yeah, but Guillermo, we will talk about that later. I promise before the fight happens. So before we head off for the night, I just want to say something real quick. I know I've come on the show and said I don't think video games are sports, but I do like sports video games. And there was the Madden Championship was this week. And
Oh, really? Was it?
yeah, this guy named what's his name? His name's Skimbo, #1 player
Mm.
for the whole year.
Yeah.
Won. Guess how much he won for being first place?
$1 million.
$1 million. Yeah.
Half a
It was only-
million.
It was only 100K. He made I
Oh.
think 150K throughout the year, but it came down to like a final possession drive. I was getting intense in it because he was
Yeah.
going against everyone says was against the GOAT, whose name is Problem. He's eventually been around.
Oh
guess,
yeah, I know who
like-
that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
He's
plays
been
with the
around
49ers,
Yeah,
right?
he was once again in the finals again. So I mean, it was pretty cool to watch. They were
It's
going at it
all
back and
about
forth.
finger strength.
Yep. But I mean, it's so funny to watch these guys play, and it's like when me and Anthony or Chris play Madden, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll pick a play. These guys are switching players in. I'm sitting there like I'm struggling just to get a play off within the 25 seconds, and these guys
Yeah.
are like switching wide
Right.
receiver to the left side, to the right
Throwing
side. I'm
different
like,
packages. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm struggling just to find a play within
Mhm.
25 seconds. These
That-
guys doing all this. They on defense, and
That's-
switching packages and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's making money. You said
They're making money
you
doing
said
it.
he made
Oh, yeah,
250
for
just
sure.
off of winnings by itself.
This year, he's made 150 off of winnings.
But then he won 100,000.
No, no,
off of-
all together from that and previous tournaments this
Okay.
year. So
plus,
he's won.
plus sponsors or so. He's
Yeah,
probably
I'm sure- yeah,
easily
they
get
like
spon- you like-
250,000.
yeah.
He's making good money.
And I was
Yeah,
gonna
he's
say, you
making
know
money.
what? It's only May.
Yeah,
Like-
that's
No,
right.
they're done for the Madden
Okay,
tournaments.
so
are
the
done.
Madden season
is done.
Okay, all right,
He has a big "I told you so" to everybody who told him that what he was doing was stupid.
right.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
joke.
But it was just cool to watch these guys play and being
Oh,
a
yeah.
casual Madden player like us three.
I've definitely watched like the smaller championships.
crazy, isn't it?
I didn't realize that the actual big one was this weekend.
just being like a casual player
Or
is
this
like,
week.
God, we're struggling just to put up points against each other. I mean, if we played one of these guys, we'd probably get blown out the water.
Oh, it'd be 21 skunk in 3 plays.
I told Anthony his boss at work was, I think he was a top 5 player, wasn't he?
He was good. I don't remember what his exact
See,
rank
I would
was.
like
Yeah.
to play against, like, me and Anthony's friend play him just to see how I would want to play against one of these guys just to see how I would match up
Hey,
and see how quick I
Back
could
in the
hang.
day, I was undefeated, man.
Yes, you were.
I was.
Back in the day where if I would lose a game, I would start a new name on PS2 and just
Yeah.
keep going. So
Yeah.
that's actually going to do it for us today.
Which is actually funny because you taught me how to play Madden,
I
and then
did.
you couldn't beat me.
I
after
did
that.
beat you the last time we played.
No. Now, yeah, because I don't even play
I think
it,
me and
but-
Anthony, the last couple times we play, I think we've gone back and forth between wins. Isn't that right, Anthony? It's
Yeah,
been
I
like
think
you,
it's-
me, you, me.
We'll
The
have to
apprentice
we'll
becomes
have
the
to settle that.
master.
And Madden
18?
18 with the goat on the cover.
That is. So the GOAT being Tom Brady is on the cover of Madden. So, Paul, I will let you take it away.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks everybody on the chat. Everybody watching on Facebook. Do us a favor, jump over to the YouTube channel. It's YouTube.com/Shipe Sports Talk. Hit subscribe. That way you won't miss any of the content that we put out. If you're on Facebook, give us a follow, give us a like. And let's see, what else? On Twitter, it's at Shipe Sports Talk. ShipeSportsTalk at gmail.com to send us, let us know how we're doing. Send us any topics you guys want us to cover. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And what am I missing? Facebook.
Our guest hosts this podcast.
No, Twitter, Facebook. I got everything. In YouTube.
Gmail.
Instagram.
Instagram. I don't think we're doing Instagrams, are we?
No, we're
Matt
not.
has Instagram.
No.
I'm trying, but I'm not really doing it. I'm
Oh,
doing my
okay.
own personal Instagram.
All right, I
we need
gotcha.
to create a GoFundMe account so Chris can set up a Twitter handle.
And so we can get Anthony
Something.
flown
And so
in
we can
here.
get Anthony in here. Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. And of course, thank you, John.
Oh, and our
for-
Tinder account, of course. Obviously.
Thank you.
Make sure you swipe right.
Anthony's on the one for Tinder. He's our Tinder spokesman because
Here we go.
He's a single man here,
Jesus
so he's
Christ.
on the. He's a poster
Hey,
child.
don't
for
be
our
putting
Tinder.
you don't know about what I do in my private time. Don't be
Hey,
talking about
that's
that on
true.
the
Hey,
show,
Hey,
all
we're
right?
just playing with you, buddy. Don't get upset.
So special thanks
Ladies, he's available.
to special thanks to John. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
did great. Why don't you? You got a couple things I know that you you'd like
yeah.
to plug. So go ahead and go ahead.
Yeah,
Whatever you
yeah.
need to plug, go
Because
for
I'm
it.
actually going to be making a Facebook page right after the show. It's going to be the page is going to be found to funny to informing is what you're going to search for, and then
Is
next
that
week,
funny
yeah.
the number 2 or funny
No,
TO?
no, two
Yeah.
Grammy Nazi correct. Yeah,
Just making sure
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can
two.
find it.
yeah, To.
Gotcha.
And then funny to informing on Facebook, and then the Twitter was right below me, half the episode. So yeah, and definitely check us out. We're coming out with episodes next week, so I cannot wait for it. I am pumped.
And as soon as he gets that information, we'll make sure we put it underneath the video you're watching right now in the description, and that way
Yeah.
you'll have some links to it as well. So, yeah, thanks again, John.
Yep. Thanks
All
for
right,
joining
no
us.
problem. Thanks for having me, man.
And for myself, as always, Anthony over there in Sunnyside, Florida, with John, Paul.
How hot
and
is it over
Chris?
there right now, Anthony?
In the 90s.
All right, same
Yeah,
here.
it
It's
got pretty hot
today.
here today.
Yeah. It's not terrible, but it's in the 90s.
Thank you for joining us, and tune in Monday to OT3 as we review Backlash and NST Chicago, and join us next Thursday for another Shipe Sports Talk. Have a good evening.
All right, good night,
Take care.
everybody.
Have a good one. Good night, everybody.
Bye.